Hi everyone, welcome to the Monday edition of Source 16 News. I'm Eddie Owen. Thanks for joining us. Topping our news, one person was reportedly injured in a single vehicle accident this afternoon on Julian Road in Christian County. Christian County Sheriff's Department and Square Deal Volunteer Fire Department were dispatched to Kentucky 272 Julian Road near the 6-mile marker around 2:40, where emergency personnel reported a Jeep had crashed into a tree, causing the engine to catch on fire. Officials say 49-year-old Danny Kraft of Apache Drive, Hopkinsville, suffered a head injury and was transported by ambulance to Jenny Stewart Medical Center for treatment. Deputies cleared the scene about an hour later. Republican gubernatorial primary candidate David Williams wants to hear what's on Kentucky residents' minds. Williams made a stop at Dot's American Restaurant in Hopkinsville over the weekend for a meet and greet. Williams has been part of the General Assembly for over 25 years and has been the current Senate president for 10 years, and says Kentucky isn't competitive as a state with the current tax code, and that he'll use his experience to come up with some changes.
There'll be things in it that people don't like and things that do like, but hopefully these experts who would really draw it, even if they were coming at the behest or working for legislators, they will draw one after they hear this testimony that will make Kentucky the best place in the United States of America to retain or create jobs. And really that's the only thing that's going to turn our state around.
Williams also spoke about several education reforms that he is proposing, including a new testing system.
We created a test system and are creating a test system that will be more nationally scoped and normed, so parents and teachers and kids all will know where they rank and what sort of weaknesses that they might have and what they need to work on to get prepared for the world and for a higher education.
Williams is also providing incentive pay to teachers who help students engage in advanced placement courses, among others. Well, the Department of the Army has just named a new Deputy Commanding General for the 101st Airborne Division. Brigadier General Jeffrey N. Colt will be replacing Major General Frank Wersinski, who has served in that position since November 2010. Fort Campbell officials say Colt is currently serving as the commander of Joint Unmanned Aircraft Systems Center of Excellence based out of Indian Springs Airfield, Nellis Air Force Base. Officials say the Brigadier General has an extensive history with the 101st since he was formerly assigned to the local post 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment, in addition to the 101st and 159th Aviation Regiments. A Fort Campbell officer accused of demanding thousands of dollars in bribes from contractors while he was deployed in Iraq plans on appealing his conviction. According to the Wall Street Journal, Captain Bryant Williams of Clarksville is waiting for his sentencing before his attorney, David Greenfield of New York, can file an appeal on his December conviction. Williams was indicted in federal court in Manhattan and is accused of demanding bribes from overseas contractors and then mailing the cash from New York when he returned from his deployment. Well, after serving nearly 4 years as Hopkinsville's Public Works Director and Engineer, Bob Cope officially retired today, and local officials hosted a retirement ceremony this afternoon in his honor. Cope spoke to Source 16 about what his plans are for his retirement.
First, my wife and I have a lot of travel plans that we're going to pursue. The most recent one will be to Ireland later on this year, and then several trips stateside. I had a commercial photography company for about 17 years, and I'd like to pick that up. And then I've got some reading I'd like to get caught up on. I have every Clancy book and every Gresham book that have been written, but I have not read it.
Nearly 30 city employees attended the event, in addition to several Christian County magistrates and Judge Executive Steve Tribble. Hopkinsville police are investigating an arson that was started by an alleged burglar Friday night at a South Campbell Street home. According to the police report, between 9:30 and 9:50, someone broke into 131 South Campbell Street by unknown force and then set the home on fire while the resident, 31-year-old Shatara White, was not home. Police took pictures showing prescription medicines, televisions, computers, and other electronic devices that had been burned and destroyed. A Calvert City man who police say was weaving all over the road was stopped and arrested on several drug possession charges Friday night. 26-year-old Thomas Speed was charged with second-degree possession of a controlled substance, 2 counts of third-degree possession of a controlled substance, and marijuana and other charges. After a traffic stop conducted by a Marshall County Sheriff's deputy, when Speed staggered out of his vehicle, he threw something behind him, which was recovered by police and determined to be a controlled substance. In addition, police reportedly found marijuana in his vehicle. Speed was booked into the Marshall County Detention Center. Mayfield police are warning residents to be on the lookout for 2 men impersonating police officers. Police say the 2 men are white, in their late 30s or early 40s. They are dressed in black and are claiming to be with a law enforcement agency. According to police, the 2 men have allegedly been approaching citizens and trying to talk their way into their homes. Residents who've been approached by the 2 men are asked to contact the Mayfield Police Department, Graves County Sheriff's Office, or Kentucky State Police. A 7-year-old boy was taken to the hospital after being injured in a 2-vehicle wreck on Madisonville Road last night. Christian County Sheriff's Department reports 54-year-old Linda Mayton of Dawson Springs Road, Crofton, was pulling out onto Madisonville Road around 7:40 when her vehicle was hit in the back right side by a car driven by 44-year-old Philip Brumfield of Irish Circle, Hopkinsville. One of 2 passengers in Mayton's vehicle, 7-year-old Ezekiel Oliver of Dawson Springs Road, Crofton, was transported by ambulance to Jenny Stewart Medical Center for treatment. Motorists traveling in Hopkins County need to be aware that the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet plans daytime closures on Kentucky 370 Aunton Road. Spokesman Keith Todd said the daytime closures are to allow ditch line work and replacement of cross drains along Kentucky 370 in the Ashbyburg area. The work site is along Aunton Road and runs from Kentucky 138 Jewel City Road to about High Banks Ferry Road. Closure is expected to be in place from 7:30 a.m. to about 3:30 p.m. each day for about 8 working days, weather permitting. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources recently named a Hopkins County man as the 2010 Green River Region Landowner of the Year for habitat improvements to his property. James Parker enrolled the entire crop base of his 75-acre Hopkins County farm into the Conservation Reserve Program. He also utilizes numerous wildlife management practices to benefit all wildlife, with a strong emphasis on quail. Parker displays wildlife conservation leadership by successfully encouraging his neighbors to improve wildlife habitat on their properties. The Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife Resources recognizes the best landowner in each of the 5 wildlife regions. The Kentucky General Assembly session is now in full swing at the state capitol in Frankfort. Over the weekend, local state legislators sat down with the first legislative update to discuss important issues and new legislations being proposed in Frankfort. After 50 years at Jenny Stewart Medical Center, Joe Anderson clocked out of the laboratory for the last time today. Today was his last day at work before he retires. And he says he's seen many changes in the laboratory at Jenny Stewart, but the biggest has been automation.
When I came here in '60, everything that we used, we made by hand. We'd take raw chemicals to make our reagents. There was no instruments like this instrument here.
Anderson plans to do some traveling with his wife during his retirement, including a 13-day trip to Alaska. He is the longest-serving employee in the history of Jenny Stewart and said the people in the laboratory are a great team.
I love them all. They're good people. They're good, hard-working people. They're dedicated to their job, and they do a good job.
Anderson started working at Jenny Stewart back in 1960. Local soldiers and their families are being treated to a couple of free tickets to go see famed stand-up comedian Ron White next month. On Tuesday, February 15th, White will be kicking off his Celebrity Salute to the Troops country music television taping at the Grand Ole Opry House, and that includes a performance by Rascal Flatts. Starting tomorrow, Army National Guard and Army Reserve soldiers and military spouses can register in person for the tickets at the Fort Campbell Morale, Welfare, and Recreation Leisure Travel Services. For more information about Ron White's Celebrity Salute to the Troops event, contact Fort Campbell's MWR Leisure Travel Services, 270-798-7436. Well, here's a look at some upcoming chamber events brought to you by the Hopkinsville Christian County Community Vision Plan. The Regional Education Summit will be held Saturday from 8 a.m. until noon at Hopkinsville Community College. To register for the summit, visit hopkinsvilleky.us/Ed Summit. The Kiwanis of Hopkinsville's annual pancake breakfast will be held Saturday from 6 a.m. until noon at the War Memorial Building in downtown Hopkinsville. Tickets are $6 per person. That includes pancakes, sausage, milk, juice, and coffee. And the Small Business Awards breakfast, sponsored by New Wave Communications, Source16, will be held Tuesday, February 15th at 7:30 a.m. at the James E. Bruce Convention Center. For more information or to register, contact the Chamber 270-885-9096 before February 14th. These Chamber events are brought to you by the Hopkinsville Christian County Vision Plan. Well, get ready. Tuesday's Mega Millions jackpot is $91 million. Wednesday's Powerball jackpot is $35 million.